Alright, we discussed a little bit of how we're using Enochian magic, working into things in and out. The other discussion, and we're going to get back into the topic of vibration. You'll see a lot of times, to include with what Aleister Crowley does, they use a lot of tonal vibration, meaning specifically coming from the throat. You know, a lot of, how do you pronounce it? So, yo, shai, ya, now, yin, ya. Very much like a Tibetan Buddhist would vibrate. It's very similar to that. I've also heard of other things where it sounds like a Gregorian chant. I did Aikido for a long time. Part of it was the Kotodama, and it's the way the Shinto and Tantric Buddhists used to vibrate. And it comes directly from the solar plexus versus from the voice, versus from the throat. For any of you who've studied any type of Kundalini, you've studied any type of martial art, be it whatever, the chakra that sits just below the belly button, or the hara, as it's called in Japanese, is the center point of the body. It's also the center point of your balance. And when you meditate, you should be expanding there first. It's the seat of power in the human being. So when I teach people how to vibrate, they're going to vibrate starting from there. And I don't mean that the muscles are going to quiver, and I don't mean that the organs are going to quiver and vibrate. I mean, that's how you're going to produce the sound. That's where the air is going to start coming from. So when you hear me in ritual, it's very booming, it's very loud, it's very direct. And it's just like the Kotodama, it's very loud, it's very booming, it's very direct. There are plenty of theory out there about how sound and words change reality. Sound and words will change reality. The vibration is, to put it in a easily understood term, is when I take a rock and throw it in the lake and you have all those ripples. Depending on how big the rock was, how deep the lake is, how calm, there's a whole lot of things that determine how many ripples, how far the ripples are going to go, and everything else. Same thing in magic. Your voice is that rock. Your voice is what you're throwing. It's generating the energy. It's getting the thing out. You have to maintain the mental imagery as well, but it's the voice that projects the request, the thing that you're looking for, builds it. So the easiest way that I teach people, for example, in our workbook, our Enlightenment, it should be, I want to say it's, here it is. It's in the week cycle of nights 91 through 120. Enter the chamber as normal with no music. Say nightly and blessing prayers. Then sit cross-legged facing your altar. Meditate. Once your mind is clear, you will begin the sound vibration. Breathe in deeply as discussed, and then you exhale and squeeze your abdomen as you say. Now, there's a large amount of information should you choose to read it in religious texts, speaking specifically on the Hindu Om, OMH. That's actually a major deal with Hinduism. Then you see the term Amen out of a Christian prayer. These are supposed to be the vibrations of the construction of the cosmos. But in all actuality, it's supposed to be all the vowel sounds progress together as they are vibrated. So I teach them, and it says, use ah as in father, hold sound till your breath is complete, repeat the cycle 10 times. In other words, 10 breath cycles. For example, they would breathe in, ah, you would have 10 cycles. Then you would use A as in Ray. Again, A. Now, you hear the tonal voice also as well, whereas the Buddhists are using, because that's how I was taught, both the higher and the lower chords in the throat. That's that metallic sound. Then the next one we go is E. And the next one. Oh. And your final is ooh. And what the Kotodama theory is that when you combine one breath cycle with those vowels, you create the same effect as the Om, as the Amen, as those different things in different religions, which will be more like And if you look in the similar things like Abra Hadabra, you look at all those different types of vibrations, it's all moving in that same realm. So I don't extend the vowel sound, it's an exercise. So that when I'm reading the Enochians, I'm still pushing out from the center of my being. And you have to remember, the Enochian language is a guttural language. So it's like, Solof nire mikma das pragna. Das pragna. And notice how I'm using oh. Because it's the vowel sounds that are the connection to make the sound vibration complete and what you're doing in the ritual.